What up, y'all? Just on Crash Podcasts live stream, and I thought it'd be fun to do a live stream tonight. My stuff's not uploading right now, so I had to do a file transfer onto the computer and then upload it. But yeah, thought I'd just go live for a little bit, just hang out, do a little bit of talking, and catch up with y'all, see what y'all are up to. Waiting for two individuals to join me, if they ever do. But yeah, just chilling. It's been a long day, so got some cool news to share with y'all, but we'll see if and when it happens. Using the Jewel now. If you look up right over there, see right there where my comic books is, right near my Deadpool poster, like right there. That's my mod. It's up on the shelf right now, but I haven't been using it a lot, so. I did end up just recently sizing up, so I've got new gauges in, which is nice because it feels nice to be at another size. So yeah, it's actually really cool. If these two guys ever join me, hope to do soon, because they both said they would join and they're not. But yeah, I have some really cool stuff to share with you guys tonight. So one was a new purchase that I just got today, and the other one, hey, there's an Xbox controller in the background. So this is the one that I've been using a lot, just so you guys know. When I do most of my videos, this is the controller I'm using. This is my old controller. It has the whiteout buttons, gold D-pad, as you guys can see, the whited out logos for the start and back buttons. This actually lights up a very bright LED white, modified sticks, and then the gold triggers with the forged grip black back plates, which is really nice to have. So yeah, this is the old controller. As you can see right now, it has no batteries in it, because I have something new to share with you guys, but I can't until those two get on here. So a couple of y'all asked about my Deadpool stuff. Just so you know, I have the clock and everything up there. There's a lot of just weird floating around posters right now. I haven't really redone my room, and there's some Deadpool stuff up on that shelf, but nothing really else. I've been collecting more band merch and music merch lately than anything else, so. Where the hell are these two guys? Taking forever. Give me a second. Oh, there he is. There's one of them. What's up? Where's Cobra? I haven't seen the Cobra said he would be here and he's not. Oh, there's Cobra. What's going on, guys? Oh yeah, that's because I went to go send you guys the message. That's why. On Facebook on Messenger to let you guys know that I was going live. So you guys know. Just so you guys know, I did size up. I was just explaining. I sized up. So yeah, a lot of stuff has changed. Oh, really? You're gonna size up soon? If so, what size you going to? 12, nothing big? Well, you're at a 14 right now, I believe. So, I mean, I'm at my secondaries. I'm at an 8. Well, actually, no, I'm at a 6 now. I was last at an 8. So, I mean, you don't have to worry about going overly large. Like I'm at 9/16 right now in my primary. In my secondary, I'm at a 6. So, oh, you guys are at baby gauges. That's nothing. I'm at 9/16 in my primary. In my secondary, I'm at a 6. My industrial is at a 14. My septum is at a 16, and my nose is at, I believe. Get back up there, dude. It's not that hard. Hell, if you need the gauge kit, I have it. So yeah, I didn't get to tell you guys. So we went to that Twisted show. That Twisted show was awesome, like phenomenal. I remember telling you guys through the group messenger that I was going to the show. I didn't get to tell you guys how it was, but seeing them that night was freaking awesome. And it's actually the shirt I'm in, the hoodie I'm in now. I'm in my Twisted shirt. Oh, my hoodie, and then actually I'm wearing triple MFD. If you guys haven't noticed, I mean, come on. My hair is blue. Like, there's no question about it. My hair is blue. It's fading a little bit on the bottom, but. Oh, you guys want to see a sick shirt? Give me a second. Just so you guys can see it. I've been. I've been sort of hiding it. Paul's getting his eye pulled out by Jason, which is fucking awesome. But yeah, I actually met Jamie the night we were at the concert. It was actually really cool. Jamie was really chill. So wasn't Monoxide. But yeah, so I got a triple MFD hat, which is LSB, which is their studio, and then my Twisted hat's up on the wall right now. I got the shirt. Um, but yeah, the Twisted show was phenomenal. I loved it. It was such a good show. No, Jamie wasn't. Paul was. Monoxide was like higher than a kite. Jamie was actually sober. He hadn't smoked all day. It was funny because when I walked up to get my triple MFD hat, both Scum and Violent Poetry, which are both the dudes that are in. Dude, Monoxide smokes like a fucking pipe. Like, he just does not quit smoking. That dude smokes a lot. But yeah, as I was gonna say, um, I went up to go get my LSB hat because my girlfriend had stolen my Twisted hat. So I was like, I need a new hat. So I went to go get my LSB hat, and when I got my LSB hat, Scum and Violent Poetry was standing behind the counter. So I was sitting there going back and forth because we were talking about the song "Body in the Trunk," which is a triple MFD song. which was really good to see live. And both of them were mad chill. Scum came up, he gave me a hug, and he was like, "Dude, it's so good to meet fans. Like, I didn't know anybody out here knew about us because they come from Detroit." And both dudes were wicked nice, like unbelievably nice. And it was really cool to be able to sit down and talk with both members of Triple MFD. And the hat was like $60. And I was like, "Look, I've been listening to you guys for a while. Like, is there anything I could do to get that price down a little bit?" And the dude and Scum looked at me. He's like, "If you can name 5 songs off of any of our albums, I'll drop the price." Well, I named all of their songs off the first 2 albums, and he's like, "Here, take the hat for 25 out of $60. Just take it for 25." I was like, "Oh, lit, cool." So album knowledge really comes in handy. What are y'all up to? Like, no joke. What are y'all doing right now? That's funny. Vaping in your room. Classic, like 15-year-old shit. Putting the hoodie back on is kind of cold. Oh, okay. So you want me to go into the comic book stuff? All right. So the basics for it is when the channel starts. I'm starting it as a segment on my channel for right now until I can get like a baseline down. So, comic books come out on Wednesdays, and I turn around and on Thursday I go pick up the books and I try to read them, get them done as fast as I can, and pretty much do a simple review at the beginning of the show or do an explanation on what the book's about. And then I sit down and talk about the books and about comics, and we're gonna sit down and do comic lists and basically go through like what they call comic battles, which is who would win in a scenario. So we sit down and give our options on who we think. Like, I give character backgrounds, so I say Deadpool versus Deathstroke. I'd go all of Deathstroke's powers, all of his abilities, and then I go through all of Deadpool's abilities and powers and give you some comic book information, and then we sit down and talk about it. But for tonight's segment, since this is really the first, initial, like, getting into it, I'm doing a comic book review tonight. On top of that, I have a couple cool things, the other things to talk about, little small stuff. Actually, false. Wolverine is not Prime because he is Laura Kinney right now. Well, she, because Wolverine is now a girl in the mainstream comic universe. In Earth 616, which is the Prime universe, Wolverine is now Laura Kinney, which is Wolverine's daughter. So it's no longer Logan, it is Laura Kinney. It's a female Wolverine. I don't have actually, I think I have one book right now. I'm working on a series called All New Wolverine, and it's the Laura Kinney storyline, which is Wolverine's daughter, it's just amazing. I think the writing on it is one of the best writings I've seen for Wolverine done in a while, like a long time. Because Wolverine doesn't really make a good standalone straight comic book character. So, like, having it reworked where Logan's daughter, which was previously X-23 being Logan now, is definitely... Actually, it works really well. Like, you would be surprised. Like, everybody goes, "Oh, it's not going to be the same. It's not Logan." like it's not Wolverine. And that's not true. You got to open your eyes and realize that this new take on this Wolverine character is amazing. Like, it's phenomenal. Like, just the shocking surprise on how relevant the character is to see a new aspect taken upon as Wolverine, where it's not Logan, because you got to remember, before this all new Wolverine run, Logan was Old Man Wolverine, or old man Logan. So Wolverine was getting older. His healing factor wasn't working anymore. And yes, he was still a significant character, but with his healing process and his healing ability not working anymore, and they are slowly killing him off, when he finally dies, the scene where he dies in the book is really sentimental. Like, they make it a really, like, deep death and make it so he isn't coming back unless he's from, like, Earth 293 or Earth 31153, where it's alternate universe Logans, or Ultimate Wolverine, or Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, which they've done in the comics so far. They've brought in Old Man Logan. They've brought in, you know, Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, just as quick views, just to add to the story a little bit. But that significant change to having it be Laura, his daughter, is amazing. It's definitely one of my most favorite liked from, other than this new Deadpool run, which is a great run. But then again, I'm a huge Deadpool fan, so of course I'm going to say the new Deadpool run's a great run. You're about a year late. Gordo, you're about a year late, dude. But yeah, so this week I have a couple comics sitting behind me. I'm now caught up to the point where I can say, okay, I can go through these runs and be significantly happy. I've got a lot of my background information checked now, and a lot of the stuff that I needed to read has all been read now. So I will start. Yeah, you're about a year behind. So I have a couple books that I just read. Now, one of the mini run that I have in here that I just read is kind of old. It took place during the first Civil War, which was 2007, 2008. But I just got to read it because I had picked it up and I didn't get a chance to fully read it. But I finally fully read it and it's amazing. It's about the character Penance, which is actually Cannonball from X-Men. So that's what the first cover looks like. And actually, this is one of the coolest storylines I've ever read. That's book 2. And actually, mentioning of Wolverine, it's kind of funny that you brought him up because he's on book 3. Book 4 has Doctor Doom on it, and then the last book in the miniseries is just Penance's Mask, which are all in bag and board. I actually really like this series a lot, especially for like just a mini tie-in book. It was really, really good. I've had no problems reading it so far. Like, I'm just reading the Civil War event now because I just went back through and just started to read from the reset of the Marvel Universe, which happened in '08 after Civil War, all the way through to now, which is actually books I'm getting into now. And the Civil War event was really good, but there's a lot of tie-ins. Like, when I say a lot of tie-ins, there's over like 200 tie-ins, and it's just such a long drag to read. But at the end, there's certain points, like Death of Captain America, where you get shot by Crossbones. It's just such a sad scene because you finally see Iron Man break, and like you've never seen an Iron Man get out of this like this character that has been built for 50 years, and finally see him like sort of towards the more human side. Like, oh my god, like one of the greatest people in my life just died, and now he's laying in my arms dead. Which then further leads into his sidekick back in the 40s and 50s, Bucky Barnes, who becomes the Winter Soldier during that storyline. I actually have a couple of his books up on the shelf. The Winter Soldier storyline is phenomenal. Just so you guys can see it, that's my, right over there's my comic book shelf. I have 3 full shelves just right now, and I have a long box sitting next to me and more comics in a whole nother long box in the closet. But just so far, it has been such a ride to see all of this transformation of character. And I'm now in current in Marvel now. Iron Man is now not Iron. It's no longer Tony Stark. It's Riri Williams, which is really weird to see. Her name's Ironheart. It's really weird to see, a female Iron Man. But they've changed a lot of the content. It's really cool so far, and I've absolutely loved it. My next book that I've been reading, these books have really killed me. I'm reading the new Batman series, and actually one of my favorite covers is officially this one. This cover is just freaking awesome, and that's the current one. That's last week's book. I've absolutely loved these books so far, though. I've had no problems reading them. And then, of course, as it's not the truth. It's far from the truth. Um, Actually, the reason why Marvel started to switch out some characters is to give diversity. Because I mean, of course, we've got characters like Captain Marvel, who's been a female for since like 2010, 2011. But they started to want to make more of a younger transition. Because I mean, think about it. Some of these characters have been in the Marvel universe for freaking 75 years, and they're just but as I was saying though, like, these characters have been in use for 75 years. It's gotten to the point where we're seeing the same storyline over and over and over and over again. And it gets boring. And it's making readers stop and go, okay, I'm going to stop reading Marvel because they're doing the same thing and using the same stories over and over and over again. We've seen Iron Man be an alcoholic 40 times. We've seen Captain America, stop Hydra dead in their tracks since the beginning of his comic books. We've seen Spider-Man fight the same villains since the beginning of time. So, I mean, it's great to see, okay, now we're progressively getting these new characters. Like Spider-Man's now Miles Morales. Peter's no longer Spider-Man. There's no more Peter Parker Spider-Man. We only have Superior Spider-Man, which is Doc Ock, which is one of his bad guys, and we've got Miles Morales Spider-Man. But, we've got all of this stuff that's becoming great new adventures that all of us old readers are going, okay, we don't like this, but it's something new that we haven't seen. They're changing up the formula. Like, DC just did Rebirth. So it reset their whole continuity, which didn't technically reset all their continuity because they're still doing the same shit, and all the storylines and all the story arcs are still there, which means absolutely nothing because Dr. Manhattan went in and said, all right, I'm going to take 10 years off the universe. But everything in the last 20 years is still happening. So how is Batman only 25 to 30 years old and has had 6 sidekicks, had 6 Robins? So do the math. He's been Batman for 10 years? Something like that? 5 to 10 years? And he's already gone through 6 Robins? Dick Grayson's now Nightwing? Jason Todd died? Tim Drake left and became Red Robin. He had 2 other female sidekicks and then had Tim Drake. I wish that was the explanation. If that was the explanation for that. Okay, if stem cells and cloning, which technically would be Clone Saga from Spider-Man, which is a 90s comic book, which was 300 issues, which was ridiculous. It was it was well written, but the story just became a clusterfuck. So, like, DC's now taking this a new approach. So every week we're getting, oh, every 2 weeks, sorry, bi weekly, we're getting, the first 2 weeks will be a Batman book and Detective Comics. So we're getting 2 Batman books every 2 weeks. We're getting 2 Superman books, which is Action Comics and Superman. We're getting 2 Green Lantern books. We get Green Lantern and then Green Lantern Corps. We're getting 2 Sinestro books, which is Sinestro and Sinestro Corps. So we're getting Green Arrow and Black Canary. So all of these characters, every 2 weeks, we're getting 2 books. That's 4 books in a month for all these DC characters. But Marvel's taking the same old regular approach where we're getting each book once a month. So we're getting Moon Knight once a month. We're getting Deadpool once a month. We're getting Avengers once a month. And I really wish Marvel would take up the time and be like, okay, oh, yay, thanks, person number 3 for joining us. I just really wish that in turn, they would sort of, oh, okay. I just sort of wish they would give us, you know, per se, like, we're getting, okay, say we get Moon Knight once a month, because Moon Knight's not a big character, which would be acceptable. Like, getting Moon Knight once a month wouldn't be a big deal. Like, I'd be okay with it. Getting Deadpool, since he's a bigger character, 2 times a month. You know, let's say we get 2 X-Men books a month. Yeah, but that's the thing, though. When you're running a huge multi-book event, like, they just got done doing a huge plot. Like, they just did this, they did a 14 book story arc. Now, DC just did the same thing. DC just did a 14-book story arc called Doomsday Clock. Now, with Doomsday Clock, there was 14 books coming out every 2 weeks. So you were keeping the person on edge by making them wait 2 weeks, but they did not forget your storyline. They knew what happened in the previous book without having to go back to read the previous book to read the most current book. Marvel's events, you've got to wait a month. So you've got a month of anticipation to lead up to, oh shit, I forgot what happened in the last book. So when you get to book 14, you've got to read book 12 and 13 before you can even read 14, so you can remember what happened. So it makes it worse on their part by sitting there going and saying, shit, we're just going to do them monthly. We're going to make them wait so long to keep them anticipating. That anticipation doesn't work because you're making people forget what the storyline is. So it makes it harder for comic book readers to sit there and go, okay, I'm going to sit here and spend freaking $3-4 a piece for this 14-issue run over 14 months, or a 6-issue run over 6 months, when you're going to forget about it and not want to read it anymore. What's the point of sitting down and reading it until it comes out in an omnibus? And when it comes out in an omnibus, nobody gives a fuck about it anymore. You want it to be relevant then. So if you do it by doing it bi-weekly, you're making it so it's like, okay, I'll get in the story that I want to read, like with Secret Wars, over a period of, you know, just 3 or 4 months instead of having to wait 6 months to get to the end. But the thing is, though, by the time these books are coming out, the storyline's already all written. You get what I'm saying? It's not like they're writing them month to month. When they go in and make these comics, they're making sure all of it's done ahead of time so they can just release them when they want. So releasing them bi-weekly is like the best point scenario. Because you release them every 2 weeks, there you go. You're getting the people's intentions, and plus on top of that, there's tie-ins. So by doing them bi-weekly, you can do, okay, we're doing this major event, let's do Spider-Man tie-in 1 week. Okay, we got a Spider-Man tie-in this week. Next week, or 2 weeks from now, we get Deadpool tie-in. We get a Captain America tie-in. We get yeah, but the thing is, they every okay. So the way I can explain this is so the way it works with these huge events. So not all the characters that are in this huge, Marvel event all have tie-ins. Certain characters get tie-ins. Like huge characters. Like Captain America will have a tie-in. The Avengers will have a tie-in. Spidey will have a tie-in. Only a certain number of characters get tie-ins now compared to back with Civil War back in 2008 when it came out. Everybody got a tie-in. Or you go back to the 80s when Infinity War came out with the whole Thanos quest, all these huge series that were all leading up to the Infinity Gauntlet in an Infinity War where everybody got a tie-in. Like the whole Marvel universe got a tie-in, so there's over 800 books. So it's not like they're doing that anymore. So little characters get a tie-in that it's like, okay, well, yeah, like we can manage this. So if you cut that time down in half, you're keeping your readers happy and you're following a new formula that works. So, we're moving into the question section. Leave comments and start asking questions about certain comic books over the years or certain characters, and I can drop a little bit of knowledge because that's what I'm good at. I mean, I'm a useless book of knowledge. Anyone? At all? Like, no questions? I haven't heard from Cobra in a while. Alright, well, while you guys are getting ready for questions. So, I had just previously talked about my gaming controller. As you guys can see, it's pretty nice. Well, you got to be a little bit more specific about that. What are you talking about? Are we talking like just? Oh, great, lucky bastard. Okay, so are we talking like newer or older Marvel? Just older or newer Marvel? Are we talking just an older or newer, DC? Like you got to be a little bit more specific because that's weird. Usually my chat's not delayed. But you got to be a little bit more specific about it because you got to remember I read Dark Horse for previously Dark Horse for Star Wars, but I read Dark Horse for Hellboy now. I read Vertigo for Watchmen and Constantine. I read DC. Oh, older or new Marvel? Um, I gotta be honest. I love Michael Brian Bendis's work on a lot of the stuff that he's been doing lately. But do I like the Jonathan Hickman runs of the old Avengers, old X-Men? I'm sort of in between because it's like, okay, so Jonathan Hickman is one of the best writers of all time for like a lot of the books that I read. But then you got this writer called, his name is Michael Brian Bendis. Bendis wrote Moon Knight. When he wrote Moon Knight, it was a game changer because it took Moon Knight into another aspect. Moon Knight's this character right here. And of course, you know, I have the Deadpool Moon Knight crossover book where they're on the same cover. But Bendis took Moon Knight in a new direction. So when he changed over one of my all-time favorite characters and made him what he is, and when he took Deadpool and wrote, when Bendis wrote Deadpool, like it was phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, I love the older books. Like that's what I started. That's what I grew up reading was all the older books. But I'm caught in the middle because it's one of those things where it's like a journey. See, that's the thing though. Like, okay, guaranteed, there's a lot of great old Marvel books. For instance, Cable and Deadpool, all both older runs from the older generation of Marvel. Back in the 80s, the writing was great. You know, there was a lot of good stuff done. But the thing is, you have these new writers like Jonathan Hickman, Michael Bryan Bendis, Daniel Way. All these new writers make great stories. Yes, old Marvel's what got me into comics. But the thing is, with these new writers, I gotta say, I like the new writing style. I just wish the material was more frequent. See, but the thing is, Stan Lee is still right, has production over the comics. He doesn't have the movie aspect. He doesn't own Marvel Studios cinematic movies. He owns Marvel Studios comics. So you can't sit here and say it's Stan Lee's fault that the comics are not the same. Stan Lee still technically owns the right to Marvel. So either way you're looking at it, he still has control over what Marvel does. Yes, they have a new lead CEO, but the founder of Marvel still has a place to sit here and say, wait, not what's going on. He can step in at any time. So, as I said though, he's letting the. No, he didn't. Okay, this is part of it. Now that you've brought it up, thank you for bringing up a topic that really irks the shit out of me. What Lucas did was to benefit himself. You got to think about it. Those movies, the Star Wars movies, are phenomenal. But the thing is, Marvel writes those comics. The comics are written by Marvel. For a while there, they were written by Dark Horse, and then when Disney bought out Lucasfilms, Marvel got their hands on the rights again. So Marvel's writing those books, and those books are phenomenal. Like we've seen Darth Vader do shit that we've never seen before. So it's an eye opener to what Star Wars could have been and what it is now. And the Star Wars franchise is flourishing because Disney stepped in, said, "All right, it's been 20 years since, well, not 20, it's been like 10, 15 years since episode 6. We're going to do episode 7. We're going to have J.J. Abrams do it." Episode 7 was phenomenal. Episode 8 was phenomenal. Solo, Rogue One were phenomenal. But it's all in part luck by which director they had, which really helped. See, that's why I think, like, everybody says Lucas killed that franchise when he didn't. He did what he thought was right. He did visual effects the way he thought it would be right to do visual effects. And I honestly think that I like the direction Star Wars is going now. You know, not, you know, everything's not canon anymore. See, the thing is, alright, so coming from a comic book reader's point of view, it's no longer like it's just like a science fiction book. These two newest movies are not just like, okay, it's a science fiction book in outer space. they took episode 7 and episode 8 in like a comic book direction. Literally, like, they took all these prevalent problems and the downfall of the Sith Empire and made something new out of it. Like, they moved on. They didn't just stay stationary 6 months after the fall of the Empire. They kept time moving forward. And the movie was directly written like a comic book. So it was really cool to see that, like, sort of comic book ish step in the way those movies were written, which makes me really happy. Oh, by the way, that's a jewel, just so you guys know. But it's interesting to see the way they could take Star Wars. And so you guys know. Okay, so back to what I was going to do. This is the gaming controller that I've been using for a while for the Xbox and the computer. Oh, I did myself a favor today. I went and bought one of the camo ones, the Winter Force Xbox One camo controller. Oh, I love the build of the Star Wars films. Like, no doubt about it. Like, it's guaranteed one of my all-time favorite franchises besides the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Avengers and all those movies. I love the comic book movies. This is the Winter Force controller. This is the new limited edition Winter Force controller. It has the clear buttons, and it has the silver D-pad, and it has the carbon backing with the grips, which I love. Just wanted to throw that in there. Got a brand new controller, which is, and the finish on these controllers are beautiful. Like, they're better than the limited edition camo controllers, which does come in Army Force